Hey guys, what's up? This is the full recording of me building my new website on Webflow, step by step, the whole process. The reason I'm not live streaming this, but I'm recording this, is just because it made my computer too slow and took off the whole internet bandwidth, so I couldn't be working on Webflow. So I'm recording this, and let's get started. It should be taking us a couple of hours at least. This is the website that I'm going to build. It's my new portfolio website. It's currently in Sketch. Images were made in Photoshop, and I haven't designed in Sketch the mobile version of this, but I'm going to have to do this directly in Webflow. So let's get started. I've created a new Webflow project here, and the first thing actually that I want to do is to set up the font. This is a font. This is Futura font that I'm using from Typekit. So I want to set that up in my Webflow project. Let's start with that. So I've actually haven't done that before, so I'm going to learn this together with you. It may take up to 10 minutes for Typekit fonts to appear correctly in the designer. Alright, no Typekit API set up. Visit the integration page. Alright. Adding your Typekit API key enables you to use your Typekit with Webflow. API token can be retrieved from, okay, account page. So let's see how I do that. Alright, so got my API key. Alright, so let's get back to the website. Okay, so it's already set up. Here I've created inside of Typekit, I've created a kit that's called ransegal.com, which is the website and this Typekit already includes Futura. So I can already see this here inside Webflow with Futura. Let's save kit changes. So I can see if this works inside the designer. If it does, it was pretty simple to set up. So there's still nothing here in the project. I'm going to give it a body class, and I just want to see if Futura here. Yeah, Futura is here. Yep. Oh, everything looks pretty good. All right, so font setting is done. So let's start by, first of all, I want to export this image. So I have it here. I'm going to export it from Sketch because the original image is huge. Hero image. So the first thing I want to do is create this kind of a section that will take the whole screen. So let's start by doing this. I'm going to put in a section and call it Hero Section. I'm going to say it's height of 100, vertical height. Alright, so that's this. Now, I want this to have the kind of the border, inner border of, how much is the border here? It's about 45 pixels thick. But I want the top to be kind of a navigation bar. So, see how I do this. First of all, let me try and put in the background image first. Alright, that looks decent. If I do here, alright, so it was pretty simple to add in the white border as a 45 pixel white border. So that looks fine. The only thing I want is, I'm wondering if the image is sharp enough and if it will look good on a Retina display. Well, I'll be checking it on my Mac Retina display a bit later. So I want to bring in this kind of a menu that I have here. It's not really a menu, but how about I throw in a div here and add in 3 link blocks. Or I can just do this. So this one is, I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it header link. And in the div that's wrapping it, we'll call it header link wrapper, because I want this to align to the right. And in the links here, let's do contact, work. About. So let's see. So the color I chose for them is this color. I'm going to copy it, and the size is 16. So for this hero section link, I'm going to put in the color. I'm actually going to add it here to the swatches and make this global so I can reuse this later on in the website. I don't need this underline. I do want them to be spaced out, like, let's see how spaced out they're, like 54. So I'm going to add margin left 55, let's say, okay. Oh, and the size I forgot to update to 16. Okay, so that looks pretty good. The only thing I need to do is to actually take them up a little bit so they would look centered in this top bar. So I'm actually going to give them a negative top margin, and that looks pretty good. Let me preview this. Okay, so that was pretty simple and pretty easy to do. But let's do kind of a hover interaction. But even though this color, it looks a bit too dark. I don't know, here it looks a bit lighter. I don't know. And I think I want to space out the letters a little bit. Yeah, this looks better. Alright, so let's do a hover interaction. I'm going to change here. Oh, hover. I'm going to give it an underline. And so now we have hover interaction. But let's see if we can animate this to make this nicer. Property. Let's see if this works. I don't know if this works on an underline. No, it doesn't work on underline. So you know what? I'm actually not going to use underline in the hover. I'm actually going to use bottom border of this blue. So, and then I can also, the benefit of doing this is that I can choose the distance. So this looks good, but I'm not sure why it's not animating. Actually, we'll give it 350. Not sure why it's not animating. Let me go and try to do something like white here. Alright, so now the animation is working. What I did is I gave it a kind of a white underline, and then the underline changes to blue, so that works. All right, next thing, bring in this kind of text, hero text. So because I want to add this line line element, which is not really typed, I'm going to have to separate kind of my name from the rest of the text. So let me do this. I'll create a div to wrap up all the text. Call this hero text wrap. Put in 2H. Wait, I'm going to take this. I've actually put this in the wrong div. Something went wrong. Yeah, the text should be here. Okay. I got mixed up with the div. So this is the wrapper, and within the wrapper we have 2 text elements. So let's start by styling them. Let's start by saying this is Sega, and this is. So let me start out by fixing the wrapper, because I want the wrapper to be, let's see how wide it is. 620 pixels wide, so I'm going to do 620, and I'm going to position this correctly. Now let's see the type. So the type here is blue again. It's Futura Medium 60. So let's see. I'm going to call this Hero H1. I want this to be, all right, medium. I want this to be 60. All right. And I want this to be blue. All right. Let's give this, I'm not sure I need all those headings here. Let's see how this looks like. All right, obviously line height is not fixed yet. So here I see that the width fell a line, and here for some reason it's not, so I'm going to make the container, the hero wrapper, a little bit smaller. Yeah, that's fine. So here, I'm going to get rid of this padding and just add a little bit of line height. Let me see how, so the line height here is 60, and here it's also 60, so let me see. Alright, I guess it looks good. I'm not so sure, but I'm going to have to look at this a little bit more. So I'm just positioning it by giving it top and left padding. And I think it looks pretty decent. Alright, so I just want to add now the little line here. So I'm going to just put in a div. I'm going to call it hero line. Not link, line. I'm going to say that it's about, let's see how long it is. It's about 295 pixels wide. 295 pixels wide. I think it's about 4 or 5, 6 pixel height. I'm going to give it a background color. Alright. That worked. And I just want to pull it up a little bit. No, that's not working. Pull it up. And push it a little bit. Alright. That looks fine. Let me see how this looks. Yep. So it's pretty much fixed. Alright, so we have the hero section ready. What I want to do right now is see that it fits mobile. I'm going to make this mobile responsive. So let's see how this works. Already iPad, not working too well. Let's fix the positioning first. basically I'm not sure the image is gonna be fitting. So you know what? I'm just gonna crop the image differently for mobile. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to my image. I'm gonna do a different crop. Yeah. So for mobile, I'm just gonna give it a lot of headroom. Yeah. This will be good for mobile. You know what? Perhaps even more. So I'm just gonna copy this right now. Copy mark. And I'm gonna scale it down because I don't need it that crazy big. With, how about we do 1,000? All right. But I want to make this higher, a bit higher for mobile. Pretty easy with Photoshop to just, yep, do this. All right. So I'm gonna save this as, call this mobile header. And let's see here. I'm gonna change this image photo. All right. Yeah, fixed. Looks much better. Looks exactly right, actually. But you know what? I think I'm gonna make the text a bit smaller here on the mobile. So how about I do this 50 on 50. Make this smaller. Make this a bit smaller. Okay, so iPad version is good. This is not really realistic, this mobile landscape, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be not very good. I will test this later on, though. Let me just go text even smaller. Right. So in mobile, I definitely need to make the border smaller, perhaps 30. It's really hard to see how this looks because the mobile is not that long, so I will test this later on. But for now, let's just basically try to fix this. Perhaps 28. we also need to fix here something is wrong here. Let me just pull this down. Okay, so I had to fix the links a little bit as well. You know what? When it's should be probably centered when it's in mobile. Let's do the centered. So I'll remove or I'll do kind of this. Yeah, looks better when it's centered on mobile. Again, I'm gonna have to check this out later because it might not be very easy to click on. So I will have to test this later on. Not sure it's good right now. Also, I don't like that we have here what we call an orphan, just like one word. So yeah, just make this much smaller. All right. So I think, okay, so header is ready. I think it's time to continue with the next part of the website. Let me close this. Okay, so let's continue to the next section, which is kind of the About section. So, start by creating a new section below the Hero section. I'm going to call it About section. About section. And going to make it blue. I think it's the same blue. I'm not sure. Perhaps it's a bit darker blue. Yeah. I also, no wait. So I want to give this also the borders. So here I'm going to do this a bit differently because I want this to limit the content. So I'm just going to give it outer padding of 45. Yeah, I don't have to give it top because we have it from here. And inside, I want the text to be limited to the kind of the layout that I had here, which is, let me see the layout section. It's width of 1200 pixels. So let's see how I do this. I throw in another div, and I make this div max 1200. I'm going to rename this about container. And then I'm going to, I can't see anything. And give the about section a bit of heading. Alright, so let's see how this looks like. Okay. Looks good for now. So we have the container that's going to limit the space. And then I need to start bringing in the content. So I'm wondering if I should do columns or I should do this using Flexbox. Not sure at the moment. Let me try to start with columns because it's simpler. So I'm just going to drag here columns inside. And let's start by bringing in this text. So first of all, we have, let's call this a H2 headline. Can't seem to. All right. So let's call this H2, and this will be white. because we might have this dark as well. So white, this is Futura, not bold, this is medium. What size? 45. Put in here work. Here we're going to put in talk. Alright, so this is basically just a text block that I'm going to bring here. I'm going to call this about text, and I'm going to give it white. This is actually, not sure if it's normal or light. Let's see. So this is 25 books. I'm not sure what book means here. Here it looks lighter, actually. 33. So here the text looks lighter, and here the web font actually renders a bit bolder. How about I try to look in the type kit. Let's do kit editor for a second here, and see if I can add a bit of a lighter width. But I have here the light. So somehow the light renders a bit bolder in web. Not sure why, but what size is this? 25. Let's download here. 25. So the light here looks lighter. I'm not sure why. Right, let's continue for now. I'll try to fix this later if it pisses me off. Give it a little bit of inner padding. So here, we have the text of upcoming talks, and basically most of it is kind of cropped off, so I'm going to have to create a style for that. Why can't I copy this? Right, so this, all these texts, I'm going to give it a span. I'm going to call this cross. Let's see if we have here cross. Bam. Well, that was simple. And lastly, all right, I have here watch, and I have here this. So you know what? I'm going to just create another table, another kind of column, so they will be kind of aligned, but it should be, of course, inside of the container. Right, so now I have kind of two columns. In this one, I'm going to do the watch. Actually want to make them a bit distant from each other. So I'm going to go with this about row, give it, right. So now I want to make this link. So it has to be this color and it has to be underlined. So I'm going to make this link. I already got a style, so let's call this about link. Give it the color. Underline it's automatic. No. So to do what I did before, just give it kind of this green underline. That's awesome. And I can already connect this link, so this link to my YouTube channel. So let me just copy the link and paste it. So this is the link to my channel. I can simply paste it inside here, open a new tab. So this is already working. If I preview this, I click on this, opens at my YouTube channel. All right. So this is done. Here, this is basically a paragraph, but without a headline. But because I want this to be aligned to these lines, so there will be what we call baseline grid. I'm going to give this a special style. I'm going to call this baseline shift, and I'm just going to push this so it will align nicely. That's better. So again, email me should be a link. So, and we already have the style for that, so it's super easy. I'm going to give it a link. I'm going to give it the style, which was, if I type in link, I have about link. Already got the color and everything. And this is a special link. I'm going to make it a mail link, so I'm going to put in my mail here. All right. So this also works right now. Okay, we're good. All right, so my work has been featured in. So I want those, I need all those logos. Take them out as PNGs. So let me just export that quickly from Sketch. It's done. Let me give them proper names. Oh, because they have the same name, he kind of he overwrote them one by one. So let's do them here. This is TechCrunch, Taxi, Forbes, Life Hacker, Fastco. All right, export them again. All right, so basically, we give this a row as well. Row, without row. And now I can just paste this outside, not outside, inside. Let me take this. Sometimes it's easier to find the position of this element from right inside here, so I'm going to add this text here lastly and put in here my work has been featured in. Now I want to create a wrapper for all the logos so they will be distributed nicely. So let's call this logos wrap. Logos wrap. And you know what? I'm just going to drop them in here like this. Oh wait, but I'm worried that Sketch exported them not at 100%. Why? Because this has an opacity. Yeah, I lowered the opacity here because I want it to be a bit grayer on the when you're not hovering, but it seems that it also exported it with opacity, and I don't want this to be exported with opacity, so let me export it again. Okay, let's drop them in right now. Okay, so I have all the images inside. Let me see that they're all inside the wrapper. None of them is in the wrapper. Let me put them inside. See, the nice thing about this wrapper is I'm going to give it a flex. I'm going to tell them distribute space between. Bam. Bam, it is distributed nicely. So fast and fun. Oh, but I forgot to do something else. I want them to be links to the actual articles that were written. So actually, I have to put them on inside of a link block. So let's create like 6 link blocks. And just drag them inside so they'll be clickable, because right now they're just images. There's 5 or 6. There's 5. All right. Let me change the ordering like I designed in the website. I want Forbes to be the first, Fast goes second, like Hypertext, TechCrunch. Yeah, that's fine. So, and for the link, I want, let's call this logo link. So now I want them to be opacity of 80%. Let's give all of them the style. Logo link. So it's a bit subtle, but I wanted them not to be completely white. So first of all, they won't grab as much attention. And also, when you're going to hover, it's going to animate into complete white. So that is a little bit of animation. Let's check out, see how this works. Yep, so it worked. All I have to do right now is actually add the link. Alright, so let's add the link. So Forbes News School, not really remembering. Remember Lior wrote about this, but I'm not sure where it is. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Alright, so this is an article that we were mentioned as one of a few promising digital blogs for the new school. So here's the link to the new school blog first in the list. So let's add this link here. So again, super simple. Just add the link here. Open in a new tab. Let's say Fast Company was about my work in Any.do, so let's do Fast Company. Any.do Cal. The calendar I designed for them. Yep, that's that. So let me copy that. And here, open it. Lifehacker. Lifehacker, I think it was for the new schools. It was for the calculator that we did. Yep. How much should I charge? So this is kind of a project calculator that we did a while ago. Let me put this here. Design Taxi was for Design Taxi in the school. I think they wrote a few articles about either Prospero or hey, what's your word? About our online classes, perhaps. Yep. Yep, that's that. And TechCrunch. TechCrunch was also for Any.do Cal, I guess. All right. All right, so the About section is basically completed. What I have to do is two things. First of all, I want to give this section here an idea about, and then I can make this link here link to this specific section about. So now this, if I click the About, it's going to scroll here. That's nice. I think this section needs a bit more spacing. I think this also needs a bit more spacing. Okay. I'm going to check about the fonts later on because it does piss me off a little bit, but it's not light enough. All right, so let me check two things that I need to check. I want to check how this looks on a smaller screen, so I'm going to check it here on my MacBook screen. Okay, so this also, I think, should be a bit, yeah, close it here. And this, right, so our container, the About container should have inner padding for sure of at least, let's say, 25. So let's make this, all right. Let's see how this looks right now. I'm just checking here on the smaller screen next to my normal screen. It is still pretty big. So You know what I feel like when I see it on a smaller screen? I feel like this text should be definitely smaller. So perhaps it should be 21. Yeah. And I feel like the container needs more spacing, so let's try 50. And add here. See that on a smaller screen. Yeah, that does look much better. You know what? I wonder if we actually need this white border around this one. So let me try to do this without the white border. I'm actually not sure what's better. I'm going to leave this on for now. And let's move into doing this responsive for the mobile. So let's see what happens. Obviously this doesn't look amazing. So what I can do with the columns is just say, hey, don't do 2 columns, just do 1 column. Exactly. And here as well, just do 1 column. And when I'm doing only 1 column, yeah, I need to space this differently. So let's put 50 here. This one, I don't need the baseline shift anymore. And the logos wrapper, let's see, what we're going to do about this is, actually even -30. -30. All right. So I'm going to give the logo link kind of a width of, let's see, 150 maybe. And I'm going to do Warp Children. Okay, so now this looks better. Perhaps I'm even going to center this. Okay. Starting to look good. Get a little bit of spacing here. So this looks better. Should it be centered? Yeah, let's do it not centered at the moment. Only TechCrunch is a bit smaller, so how about we add this? We add a TechCrunch style to it and allow this to be a bit, remove TechCrunch from here, add it to the link, and allow this to be 200 maybe, yeah. So it's not kind of, not sure. Perhaps we remove this and we do max of 150. No, 150. Okay, I guess that looks fine. See, a smaller screen. Okay, it's not bad. Don't need that much padding here. Okay, this obviously does not work. So how about we do also here, I need to make the border bit thinner. Okay, here, this is 23, then this can be 23 as well. And then this can be definitely something around 14, maybe, or 16. And even that is not small enough. You know what? So here on mobile, I'm definitely not going to do the white border because it's actually just a waste of space. Here, 30. Remove the inner padding here. Okay. Okay, this should be like probably 75 now. Right, so now I want to really see this on mobile because I'm not sure how this will look like. So how about I test it? I have a link here, cronstable.com/webflow, so I'm just going to try and see how this looks on mobile. Okay. Something funny happened. Okay, so let me show you. This is currently how the home screen looks like. So I actually look at this. I feel like I can make not sure if to make the text a bit bigger because I do need to fix the spacing and the top bar to give it a bit more space. This looks pretty good though, so I feel good about how this looks like. I'm going to do a quick fix here of the top border. Not sure why it's a bit. I need to get 40 on top. So I'm going to publish this and reload here on my mobile phone. Yeah, so this looks better. Wait, I'm going to just put in a little bit, like 25 here. You really have to check out the mobile on real mobile phone to know how this looks. Alright, so now that looks pretty decent right now. With enough space to click on the top, text is aligned, basically looks pretty good. Maybe the little line should be like 1 pixel less. Let me just do that. 2 pixels. See how that looks like. Okay, yeah, it actually helped a little bit to reduce 1 pixel. I'm not sure if you can see this on the tiny little box, but it does look fine now. I'm pretty happy with the mobile. So we have the hero section finished. We have the about section finished. And I like how it's turning out so far. I feel like this is a good time for me to take a quick lunch break. We'll be back in a minute. All right, let's get back into it. So we have the header done. We have the about section done. It's time to move into the project section. So start by adding a new section to the website. I'm going to call this project section. And I'm going to make sure this is also 100 vertical height, so it will take up the whole screen. And now let's see, what do we start with? So as I told you, I need to separate those elements so that I can later on change their layout for the mobile. So let me just start with exporting the background, the marble background. So I have the Photoshop here, and I can just save this for web. Not too big. Prospero BG, let's call this. And start by, let's give it this, not this project section, now we'll call this Prospero. I want to take 1 second to explain why I'm not building this using the CMS, which is basically a good thing to build if you want to have content. I mean, you can build a portfolio with the CMS, but in this case, because I'm really going to change the layout and give really unique interaction to each section, I don't think that it's the right thing to build it with CMS. It will limit me a little bit. Plus, I'm not going to be editing this too often, so no need to use the CMS. All right, add the background image. Put it as cover so that it doesn't repeat, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so what should I start with? Should I start with the text or the other elements? Let's start with adding the text first. So let me just put some kind of a wrapper for the whole element, for the whole text, and we call this project content. And let's do this. How wide is this? Basically, it's let's say 420 pixels wide. I'm gonna give it like 50 or 150. Oh no. Wait, so I'm not gonna touch the positioning yet. I want to think about how to position this later on. Perhaps I should position this within some kind of I'm not sure if I want this to be aligned to this or not. So let's just start with putting in the content. So I'll put in, this is an H2, but we'll call this project H2, and we'll call it white because we'll also have a non-white title. So this is 45 medium. Let's take the profile here. Basically, this is 40 pixels. I'm going to do it like this. Actually, not sure why I didn't use the same style, but never mind that right now. And this is the body text. So let's put in body text. This is actually a paragraph. So I haven't styled a paragraph yet. And it's not inside of the project content. So let's call this P white. And tell it to be white. I'm gonna That's 16 pixels. Let's do 16, do it white. What's the line height here? 21. Right, so let me just push this inside. Oh, not the content, sorry. Project section. See if this works. Actually works. But you know what? I don't want to give it only to the Prospero style, so I'm going to remove the Prospero style. I'm going to add the padding here. And then reapply the Prospero because I want to reuse this on the other projects as well. So text looks fine, I guess. I want to add the kind of skills right now. Let's do this one time. And the skills are going to be text block. That we'll call them skills. And they're going to be also 16 white, light. Let's see what skills did I put here. Co-founder. So co-founder. And I want this to be in line so it's not the whole width. And I want to give this the border. So it has this border. Tighter, and do round corners 200, so it's just round. Give it a little bit of padding. Okay, this looks nice. Now let me duplicate a few of them. Now you can see that I need a little bit of padding here, perhaps 12 or 13 pixels, and also 13 pixels down. Okay, so this looks pretty legit. I want to create a little hover interaction on this. So I want to reduce the opacity to 80. Again, perhaps 70. Let's do 70, and on hover, it's going to pop back into 100. Of course, with a little bit of animation, so I add a little transition here to 50. So let's see how this looks like. Yeah, so this is nice. They're not buttons, but they're still having a little bit of interaction. So let's see what the skills were. Project strategy. Marketing. And the last one is actually a button. So I'm just going to add here kind of a link block. You know what? Not a link block. I'm just going to add a link text. Let's give it a style. I want to start with this skill. I'm going to give it the same style, but then add a little class onto it that's called web link. That saved me up a little bit of styling. I'm going to give it that I don't want it to be. I want the opacity to be correct. Full. All right. Don't want that border. Oh, but I mixed it up. I want this to be white with blue text. Okay. What did I have? Visit website. Website. So this is actually a link. So How about I do this on hover, give it a little bit more padding so it grows a little bit. Let's see how that looks like. I'm going to do in the transition padding. Let's see how that hover looks like. Yeah, it's kind of nice. I like this. Alright, let's connect the link to the correct link, which is goprospero.com. Open in the window. Okay, so we have the text ready. Here I forgot to space it out a little bit. Perhaps even more, I think. Okay, it's time to lay out the images. Let me export them from Photoshop. So I'm gonna just propose all colors. Quick export as PNG. And we're gonna do this one as well. And this is actually deliverable. Quick export as PNG. All right. So now let's see how I'm gonna lay them in. So let's drag in an image. Let me look and think for a little bit. I'm always not sure how to set up the overlay, but I'll figure it out in a minute. So here, basically, whoa, what happened here? Not sure why it's that huge. Let's see the structure. So I have the project content, and then I have the photo here. So what happens if I do this? How about I do position relative? And I here. Start with the width. Okay, so basically I loaded it right, and I'm going to do for the project section that there is no overflow, so it can't get out of the project section. 700. And I'm going to raise it up. Okay. I'm just pulling it up with negative margin. Not sure this is the legit way to do this, but it seemed to work. Let me just publish this so I can always check it out on my small Retina screen on the side of the Mac 13-inch to see how that looks. Actually, looks perfect. Looks pretty good. You know what? I'm going to make this a bit smaller. Not 700 pixels, perhaps 600. See how that looks like. Okay, that looks nice now. So let's add in the deliverables. Add another image. Now this one I want it to be on top of this. Okay, that already happened. See if I float this to the left. No. If I do this one. just see. Missing something here, went wrong. Not absolute, it can't be absolute. It's relative. How should I position it? I can just drag this that way. But I'm not sure this is the correct way to do this. But what the heck, it works. Okay, so something doesn't work here because as you can see when I change the screen size, yeah. What I probably should do, and let's try this. Okay, I have another idea how to do this. Okay, I have an idea how to do this. Okay, so I'm going to put all the images in Prospero image wrap. I'm going to put the images, both of them. Let me just remove all the styling here. From this and from this. And put the images inside this wrapper. Again, the reason that I struggle with this is because this needs to be responsive. And this, let's do the project section. Make this flex box. Okay, now that's good. And now distribute this. Now, let's see here. Just the image wrap needs to be here. Put this on top. Image 2 on top. Okay, what's bothering me here is this padding. Okay, now I've made it to stick to the bottom, which is good. Now, inside of this, let's see. Remove, let's remove this. No, now remove this. Okay, getting there. And this image should definitely be relative and 0. Okay. So my problem was that I wanted it to stick to the right side, the whole proposal stick to the right side of the screen. Now, this one is still 600. Let's publish this and see how this looks like. Alright, so on the smaller screen it doesn't look very well. And on this screen, for some reason, it's completely gone. See how this behaves. I can actually bring them together as one image, and that will be easier development-wise, but I want to create interaction, so. Okay, so let's start by fixing this, the wrapper, or what's inside. Remove this. Image wrap can't be. still on my screen here, on the small screen, you can see what happens here. For some reason, it really sticks to the top. Perhaps I'm not structuring this correctly. What would be the best way to structure this correctly? How about if I remove this currently? Because I still have here negative margins. Okay, okay. I'm getting there. Why is this not fitting correctly? Oh, I see. Because I want to give this, or I want to give this. Okay, I understand what's going on. On the smaller screen, it fits it to the bottom, and so the top is a bit cut off. So I'm going to have to change to align top and give it a little bit of padding. Let's see how this looks like now on the smaller screen. Okay, now it's fixed on the small screen. Looks perfect. Now it really looks the way I want it on small screen, and on big screen, no. On the big screen, it does not touch the bottom, which is what I really wanted it to do. Let's again align it to the bottom here. Okay, so this works now on the large screen and on big screen. Seems to work right now. Let me add the second image outside of the wrapper. See, so now it's pushing the image inside. If I remove this, okay, pretty much looks fine on this screen right now. I've actually added three elements to the flex box. Let me see this on a big screen. Nope, it's not big enough. For some reason, it pushes down. So this one, let's give it. Okay. really sure why the image jumped down now. Give this. Okay. Apparently it just missed a class or something is weird here. Okay, so let's just give this 650. So now if the screen is too large, it's just spacing them in between. And okay, it's starting to look good on the small screen, but not on the large screen. So this definitely needs to be positioned inside that wrapper. Only now, I have an idea. This whole wrapper, how about we do it as a flex box? Exactly. Position them. Position this one on the top. Oh, that seems to work. Also seems to work on the big screen. See how this looks on a small screen. Okay, so on the small screen it looks like this, which is not exactly what I wanted. But let's try to fix this. Why is this happening on smaller screens? Oh, I see what's going on is that this whole thing is pushed to the side on smaller screens instead of this, when this should actually get smaller, I imagine. This is what's going on. Okay, I see that I'm getting a little bit confused with this. So, to simplify things, I'll just bring them in together, and then later on, I will decide if I want to really bring them on separately, because I see this is causing me a little bit of confusion here, layout confusion. So the most important thing for me is always to get the job on time, and I have to finish this project before I'm leaving for a meeting today. So first of all, I will try to get this done, and then later on I can decide if I want to put more effort into this. So let's see how this is laid out. Okay. So what happens right now is that on small screen, the whole image looks a bit too small, and then on the smaller screens, looks a bit too big. So how about I do the wrap and kind of okay, so basically now it looks good on the smaller screen of the retina. It looks good here, and it looks good here. On a really wide screen, the image gets a little bit cropped, but I guess that's fine, because on most screens, it looks pretty good. Right, so let's continue to the next section. I'm a bit pissed off that I wasn't able to do exactly what I want, but I'm a little bit stressed on time because I have to leave for a meeting. So I just want to get everything done. So I'll try to finish everything without the interaction, and then maybe later on I'll do another session to add the interactions. All right, so let's head into the next section. So this is another section, so I'm going to just call it, I call this project section. I'll call this one project section as well, project section. And this one, I'm going to call it Upfront. Front. So for this image, I think what I'll do is I will bring the sushi and the background together and just leave the iPhone outside so I can center it later on. Yes, so I'll just use this as a background image to start with. background image. I'm going to copy the whole project content, bring it in, and just change the styles here to blue, and that will change the color to blue. Blue. Blue scale. So those I'll get. Not blue. Okay, so let's copy the text. Oh, one more thing that I forgot to do here is arrange this for mobile. I'll do that in a second. Here, UX, mobile app. Dashboard. Dashboard. Marketing. Landing page. And for the Upfront website, I want to use the Upfront bot page. All right, and let's add the iPhone image. So let's just export the iPhone. All right, so again, let's see how we're going to position this. Perhaps we're going to do this. Okay, that looks already fine. But why is it? Okay, give it maybe height of 400, 550. Okay. So basically, I kind of want to center this, but I want this to be aligned to the left, and I want this to be kind of centered. So perhaps I should just add a fake div so that I can just do space between. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Give this kind of 30%. Does look fine. Not sure if if the iPhone is a bit squashed or how this looks on the small screen. So that was relatively easy. Okay, and it does look good on small screen as well. Right, so before we continue to the next section, how about we do both these sections ready for mobile. So let's go back here and start looking how this would look like on a mobile. So already I can see the problem. So perhaps this is not, or perhaps this should be something like this. Okay, so it's really hard to tell how this will look on mobile since, well, obviously this is not good. This should be auto. And the padding should be less. But the image, for some reason, the image is pretty small. Align this. But why is this so small? Okay. So I'll be checking this on real mobile in a minute. This is 23, so I lowered this to 23 as well. And this 16. This already 16. Fix this as well. So this one, I actually don't need this at all on the mobile. And this one, give it a little bit of top space. I will need to see this on mobile, so let's publish this for a second and open this on the mobile, see how this looks. So basically, Prospero looks pretty good. Looks really nice on mobile. Upfront, what's happening right now is that the app is too big, so it's kind of cropped. So I'll just make the iPhone a bit smaller. How about I do it 450, 300, or 350. Let's see how this looks like. One more thing that I can do right now is actually give this one the first project section. I'm going to call this work. So I can actually already take this link here and connect it to the section work. So now this scrolls into work. This looks good. All right. Let me refresh on mobile. Okay, looks much better. Actually, there's a bit too much of tuck padding on the mobile that I see right now. And it happens for both projects. So let me just do something like 10 pixels here. Yeah. 10 pixels here. All right. it. Okay, let's continue to the next section. Next section, Nexar. Should be pretty easy. In this case, you know what? I'll just put the iPhone as part of the background because I just want the logo to be centered in the whole screen, or perhaps no. I should probably not do that. Let's try. Let's try and see how this goes. Okay, so this is for the iPhone. So I'll call this Nexar BG and export this just as a JPEG. And this I will just export as Nexar logo. Alright, so because this section is dark, actually, I think it will be much easier to just take this whole section and copy paste it, and then just change what I need. Alright, so what do I need right now? Let me remove everything that I don't need. Don't need this image wrapper. I do need the project section. I don't need the Prospero right now. Wanted to fix this to be 30. So let me give this a new style, call this Nexar. Add the background image. Perfect. So let me copy the text. Here I only have branding, and actually I don't need to visit website since I didn't do the website myself. And I just want to add here the image. Of Nexar logo, and I want it to be centered. I can make this a bit smaller, but give it Nexar logo. So in order to make this centered, and I want to disregard this, or I don't want to disregard this, perhaps I'll just center this, and content. No, wait. Let me undo that, because I centered the whole thing, and I can just do center for this, make this 500 maybe, yeah. So bam. That's pretty simple. Maybe a bit bigger. Try 550. And let me see how this looks like on smaller screens. So on smaller screen, it's a bit too big, as you can see. So let me bring it down to 500. Even, you know what, 480. See this on the big screen. Looks good on the big screen. On the small screen, yeah, Now it also looks good on small screen. Let's make this mobile responsive. So give it a little bit here. So this looks fine now, but I'm pretty sure. Test this on mobile. Not sure the app will be visible in mobile, but let's test it. Actually, looks really good. Looks really nice. You can't see the app here, but I think for mobile, it's super clean. I like how this looks like. Yeah. Great. That was easy. On to the next section. This one is Any.do. Okay, so again, this is a light one, so I'm just going to copy the section of Upfront. So I'll have everything ready with the colors and just remove the images. And the style here. Alright. So the background here is white. Actually, I think I'm gonna, to not complicate myself too much, I'm gonna bring those two images together, just like I did for Prospero. Call this Any.do comp. And let's just pull this in. Basically, what I want to happen is I want this to be, where is this? Did it save? I want this to snap to the right bottom corner of this screen. So let's do this. Let's add style Any.do, and do this flex box, and just do align. This should be aligned to the top. This will be to the bottom. So Any.do, I don't want here padding. I don't want here padding. So this is a bit too large. So let's do for the image. So for the, let's call this Any.do image. Let's just remove, yeah, Any.do image. So I'll give it a max of maybe 700 pixels, perhaps 800. Let's see how this looks on small screen. So it's really hard. You design it in Photoshop for one size, then on real screens everything looks different, so that's the challenge. So actually on small screens, you know what? It looks good. It looks pretty good. So you move from this to this. Yeah. Just need to update the text a little bit. Mobile marketing, web design. This web design. So the Any.do website. Okay, let's see how this will respond in mobile. Obviously, I'm going to change the flex box to top down. I'm going to have to change the max to do auto here, and perhaps. Okay. Okay. This looks okay. Make this smaller. Okay. Should look okay. Let me check this on real mobile. So basically it looks okay, but I have one problem. For some reason, right, oh, well, I missed the padding. Okay. All right, we'll do minus 30 here so it will stick. So now it looks pretty perfect. Let me fix the top padding here. Top padding here. All right. All right. Looks nice and clean. Looks pretty good.